Hey, my voice is back, so let's talk some shit. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the SlasherTalk podcast. I am so sorry for not releasing an episode last week, but brother, let me tell you, my voice was so fucked. There is no way that I was going to be able to get through an hour, even a 45-minute podcast episode. There was no shot. I struggled enough just getting my everyday short form content recorded before I left for Overlook Film Festival. The amount of throat coat and green tea that I drank those two to 3 days, insane. Diabolical. Probably shouldn't be allowed the amount of tea that I drank to get through that shit. But so I just made the decision that yes, it sucks that I didn't get an episode out. I had a couple people reach out to me and it's like, hey, no episode this week. No, so sorry, but the voice is back. I'm back. The Slasher Talk podcast is back. And listen, I'm in a mood and I'm ready to talk some shit. But before we get into the shit talking, I did just get back from the Overlook Film Festival. Always a great time. It felt a little bit different this year because a lot of the main movies that were there, which were great movies, I had already seen at South by Southwest. Now, because there's a ton of overlap from South by, that's kind of a double-edged sword. From the Overlook Film Festival's perspective, they grabbed some great films. They had Obsession, they had Hokum, they had Over Your Dead Body, a family movie, the new Kevin Bacon, the Bacon family's new horror comedy that got rave reviews coming out of Overlook. People loved it. Those were all great films. I enjoyed all four of those, but the only one that I rewatched was Hokum because I really wanted to give Hokum a second watch and really digest all the puzzle pieces and things, which I'm so glad I did because I enjoyed it so much. I loved it the first time, but I loved it even more the second time, and that's the only one that I rewatched because I'd already seen Obsession twice. I didn't feel like there was a need to see Over Your Dead Body twice, but you have these great films, which a lot of people are going to rush to go get tickets for. And they should, because they're fantastic. And if you haven't seen those films, they were absolutely ones that you should see and fill your festival schedule with. With that said, from my perspective, I wasn't necessarily going after those movies. So that frees up tickets for the lesser known, the less hype, I guess, movies in the festival, which is great because I've already seen these and I get to go watch newer films and less people are fighting for tickets, right? So it's very easy to get tickets for every film that I wanted to see. With that said, I came out of several films just being like, yeah, it was fine, or wasn't really a fan. I didn't really leave a movie besides a couple that I hadn't, besides Hokum. There's two movies that I came out going, oh yes, that's a hit. I loved that. That really, I'm so glad I watched that here. Most of the films I was just kind of okay. So overall, had a great time, but it wasn't like a smack me across the face, oh my fucking God, did I see some movies at this festival. Which that kind of sounds like I'm talking shit on the Overlook Film Festival, and I'm not trying to do that. It's such a unique perspective of when you do all these film festivals. I just was at South by what feels like 3 weeks ago. So when you go into the next film festival so quick, from the Overlook Film Festival's perspective, they need to go grab great movies, and they did their job. They grabbed great movies. I had just already seen the majority of those movies, so from my perspective, it's just kind of yeah, it was fine, right? but I had a great time, saw several movies. I didn't see as many movies as I had on my schedule or that I wanted to, but guys, I'm not gonna lie, like, this festival was the first one where I'm fucking tired, man. I'm tired. I've been traveling a lot. I think South by is, such an absolute blast. I had a great time, but then I got home from that, had a week to just, like, kinda prep, and then I traveled and went to Omaha, Nebraska for my best friend/roommate's slash roommate's, band's last show, which I think I talked about on the podcast last week or, like, the week before, whatever. So, yeah, that was great, had a great time. I got to go on stage and do guest vocals with Sean, and, um, the whole night was just kind of very emotional. There's a lot of layers on that last show, but great time. Um, but then I drove there to save money on flights, and I drove back, and literally two days later, I'm hopping on a plane to go to Overlook, and it's like my I think my body was finally like, okay, brother, okay, you know what I'm saying? I think it just finally kind of caught up to me. So um, I get a week's rest, and then I fly to the UK to do the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 3. So and then I'll be there for a week, and then after that, I don't think I have anything for a while, which I love traveling. I love every opportunity that's thrown my way because of this channel, and, I'm gonna take every opportunity that I can get because I don't know how long this is going to last. If I'm being dead fucking honest, like, I always live in that world of, like, I'm trying to get out of the whole, like, imposter syndrome and things like that, but just, like, the the lived in reality of social media. The reality of social media is like things hit and then it's ever changing. It changes every day, every week, every month. And so you just don't know. Luckily, I have a great community that I've built. You guys are awesome. And as long as you guys, continue to dig what I do and listen to the pod and watch my videos, engage and do all those things, I think we'll be fucking solid. But you just never know. So I try to like just take all these film festivals and take every opportunity that I can because I don't know. I don't ever want to get complacent and be like, well, I'm gonna turn this one down because there will be another one and all that. So I'm but I'm just tired. I'm I'm tired. I'm tired, guys. Okay, so but to go through Overlook Film Festival, I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies. Not bad, actually, for how short the festival is. No, I saw 9 because I didn't include Hokum on this list. I saw 9. That's not bad at all, to be honest. Let's go down the list. First movie I saw was Exit 8, which will not be a movie for everybody. Yes, I know I could have torrented this on some other site. It's been released overseas for like a year and a half, or whatever. I don't torrent, um, so that's a thing. I just saw that it was getting its US release, and that's why I included it on, like, the new releases for this month and this, that, and the other, but, we saw that at Overlook Film Festival. I think it simultaneously released in theaters as well. Two movies did that, which I thought was kinda weird, but whatever. I really enjoyed Exit 8. This is not gonna be a film for everybody. This is a liminal space horror. It's pretty much in one location. It is very repetitive, and I could not argue with somebody if they said it's very repetitive and very boring. Because it is, but it also is very engaging at the same time. I'm a video gamer, um, so my video game brain locked into this movie pretty much 10 minutes in because it's based off a video game. I haven't played it, but essentially the concept is is you're in this, like, subway train station and you're trying to exit, and, you are walking down this hallway trying to exit. When you take this corner, you end up in the same exact hallway. The whole premise is to get out when you're walking down the hallway. If you noticed an anomaly, something off, something different, something that's not supposed to be there, or it's just kind of like not how it was originally presented to you. So if you notice an anomaly, you're supposed to turn around immediately and go the opposite way. And that's how you get to the quote unquote next level. In the movie, it's presented in um like signs. When you come around the corner, you see this big sign and it's like it says 0 or exit 1, exit 2. And as you go up, you're supposed to get to, like, you're wanting to get to exit 8 so you can actually exit this fucking train station. Um but they did the movie like the game. Like, they adapted it so well, plus they introduced this, like, in my opinion, a very deep, layered, emotional story that I also was having an existential life crisis about halfway through this movie. I just started thinking about life and everything, and I don't know, I was in a mood this weekend. But I was locked in. Every time this character walked down the hallway, I was like, "Okay, the lights are the same, this is the same. Oh, that's different. Turn around." And, like, when, like, the character wouldn't, I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? Turn around." So, like, I was it's repetitive. Some people might say it's boring, and I can't argue that, but my video game brain was so engaged and looking the entire time. So, like, um it's I low key loved it. I don't know that I think I gave like a 3.5 out of 5, which I still think is a great score. I could see me bumping it up to a 4. Um, but yeah, really enjoyed Exit 8. It was a great start to the festival. I then went into Faces of Death, which this pains me to say. On paper, Faces of Death should have been a movie that I walked out of going, "That is my kind of fucking movie." I love that. I walked out of Faces of Death being like, "Oh my god, thank Christ that's over." And it's so disappointing. I love the concept. I think the concept being this, like, meta take and reinventing, using the actual Faces of Death VHS and movie that came out that was, banned in all these countries as a video nasty, all this kind of shit. You like having that in the movie and having things be recreated for this new social media content creation world that we live in. I love that concept. The problem is, I know this movie had problems getting distribution, and IFC and Shudder stepped in. I believe the director said it's been made for like 3 years, which I think is great. The IFC and Shudder came in, it's a great spot for this movie. The problem is I do feel like it's a tad late. It does have the serial killer aspect, which some of these other films do not in the way that it's doing it, but, like, I could not get past almost immediately this feeling that I've already seen this movie. Last year, I watched American Sweatshop with Lily Reinhart. It's almost verbatim, just without, like, the serial killer aspect. Like, the first half hour, 45 minutes, like, the same beat. This woman is a content moderator. She's struggling on what, she can improve, this, that, and the other. It's the same thing. I just got done seeing Monitor at South by Southwest, another content moderator thing where it hits the same beats. There's a reason why this person went into content moderation, and she's struggling on what to approve, what not to approve, and her boss is like, "That's just the job. You signed an NDA." But it's like the same beats. Not to mention, Red Rooms is not the same, but there's this Red Rooms aspect that I picked up in Censor, movie from like what 2020, 2021. The woman that it's essentially content moderation, uh, content monetization, content moderation in the era of the video nasties, where she's having to watch these horror movies and say, "Are we going to give this is this gonna be considered a nasty? Can we let this out?" So I've seen so many movies with this concept. So it needed something to really pull me in, and it lost me very quickly. I did not What is the main actress's name? I'm already I've already been told that I'm gonna get drug for saying this because I guess, they sh there's a big fan base that really loves this actress, Barbie Ferreira. I don't know if I said her last name right, but I guess she's from Euphoria. Never seen it. I just didn't lock into her character. I thought her acting, I just didn't vibe with her acting. I'm not gonna say that she's a bad actress. Uh, Her acting just wasn't for me personally. A lot of these facial expressions and just how she approached some scenes and stuff. I just did not like her character. I just could not get behind it. And that has a lot to do with the acting, but also like the character decisions, which has nothing to do with the actress whatsoever, the actor whatsoever. Um, but just I could not really get behind her character for several aspects, so I never really fully bought in to the movie. There were several scenes I just kind of was like rolling my eyes, and then Dacker Montgomery, I thought he was the best aspect of the movie by far. I thought he low key carried, even though there were also some scenes with him where I was like, "Oh my god, this is cheesy as fuck." So I don't know. I just caught myself rolling my eyes several times. I might have been a little harsh on my 1 out of 5 rating, but that's just I walked out of it just being like, "Oh." I texted somebody afterwards, like, the next morning, and I was like, "Man, I wish I would've liked that," but at some point during the movie, there's a scene where it, like, recreates the monkey dinner scene from the original, but they use, like, an actual person where he just gets, like, beat with a hammer. I was like, at some point, I low key just wish that I was the guy getting beat upside the head with the fucking hammer. Like, which is probably super harsh of me to say, but that's just how I legitimately felt. I know several of my friends really enjoyed it. Um, so I don't know, maybe I need to rewatch it, but like that night watching it, I just didn't connect with the movie at all. I love the concept. It just didn't hit. What was your opinion on Faces of Death? Am I being a jackass? I don't know. So anyway, very disappointed there. Should have loved it on paper, but rolling into Never After Dark, again, I need to see this a second time. I saw this at like 1 PM in the afternoon. I had had 0 coffee, 5 hours of sleep the night before. So the first 45 minutes of this movie was a struggle, because it's a slow burn atmospheric film, which I loved, and where this movie went, I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." So, like, as it went, it further locked me in. I loved it, but I feel like I should have loved it more overall. And I think just, like, my exhaustion and my tiredness, prevented me from really getting locked in from the get-go, but where this movie goes, I don't even wanna, like, compare it to anything as to not spoil, but, like, so good, so my vibe, loved it. I saw Drag, which is not normally my vibe. It's very much a horror comedy, but they let you know the tone of the movie straight from the rip. Um, and I bought into the tone straight from the rip, so I enjoyed it. There were not several, there were a couple parts that even I was just like, "Okay," not I wish this was done a little bit differently, or I could nitpick and say, "Well, the details here," 'cause it's about this woman that, like, she goes to break into this house, her and her friend, and she hurts her back, and she needs to be drug out of the house before the guy, you know, gets back home. That's the premise, but there's a part where, like, she, like, nicks her back, and it's bleeding, and then I'm like, "Well, she would be bleeding throughout the entire house until they get this, like, stopped." It just my brain just, like, was like, "The details here aren't 100%, but just, like, let it fucking go and enjoy the movie." John Stamos was great. It's legitimately funny, and I thought the ending was perfect. So, like, Drag, so good. Uh, Goody Goody, I had a decent time with. It was also a very frustrating movie. It's about this woman that is having a child, and she wants to have an at-home birth in a pool with, I believe it's called a doula? Um, but she's being told that the time of her birth is gonna line up with, like, bad weather, so she should go to the hospital, but she doesn't really want to, so they end up doing it at this house, and a snowstorm hits, they're stuck in this house, and shit hits the fucking fan. Um, there were several aspects of this movie that I loved, and several aspects that I was kinda like, "What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?" Again, one of the main actresses, I just never fully bought into her. I didn't necessarily, like, connect with her as an actor. I keep saying actress. I know, I'm sorry. Actor. Um, so that was a bummer because I feel like if somebody else was playing her, I would have, like, connected to it a little bit differently. There's some, like, delivery of lines and things was kinda like, "Well, mm." So there was a scene at the end where I was like, again, not gonna say it, but I was like, "This motherfucker has seen a movie that I love a lot of times, and I can tell." And then there were several parts where it's like I was getting locked in, and then it would just, like, dip down into, "I don't like this," and then it would ramp back up and go, "Okay, here we go, we're locking in," and then it would just dip back down. There's a moment where if it would where I felt like, "End it right here," I would've walked out being like, "Yes." I was frustrated, but, like, the ending, yes. And then it kept going for 5 minutes, and I was like, "Damn." So I left with this sense of like, "Ah, I feel kinda disappointed." So, goody goody, it's gonna be a hit and miss for people in my opinion. I saw a film called Saccharine, which is about this woman that is trying to lose weight, and she finds out about this new weight loss pill called the Gray, which, and this is in the synopsis, so this is not a spoiler. Um, and she finds out that the stuff within this pill is human ash. And that works into like what she's going to school for, this, that, and the other. And so she starts taking these pills, and some weird shit starts to happen. It's the same director from Apartment 7A and Relic. I had a decent time with this. I did like it. I wasn't in love with Saccharin, but I thought it was there were several moments where I was like, "Yep, I love this. So again, didn't hate it, wasn't totally in love, but I think on a second watch, I might pick up a little bit more of like the underlying things as well. I saw a film called Affection, um, which has the woman that plays Tree. Why can't I think of her name? Roth, Jessica Roth? Jessica Roth, I think. Let me see, Jessica Roth. I got it. I know things. Again, I think this is gonna be a split, divisive movie. I don't even wanna really say the synopsis or whatever in fear that I will go too far and spoil this movie, but I picked up where the movie was going very, very, very early on. And so sitting down, watching it in the theater, I felt like I was just waiting for the movie to catch up, um, and, like, give me the, "Oh, here's the reveal," and I when it was revealed, I was kinda like, "Yep, okay." Um, but I think if you do not pick up what's happening, that you will have a much better time with the movie overall, if that makes sense. So, um, again, one of those where I was just kinda like, "Yeah, didn't hate it, but, mm, whatever." The last movie I saw was, Suffocation, this one take, but not really a one take. It was creatively you could tell in, the edit where, like, these creative transitions were happening where, like, it's not actually a one take, but, um, it's comes off like that. I'm a lover, a sucker, if you will, for one take horror movies, and this is one. When I walked out, I was like, "I don't know that this one needed the justification for it being a one-take film." I don't think they ever justified it. Like, this one didn't feel like it needed to be a one take. In fact, I think it would have been a much better film if it was not, and I don't normally feel that way. But great premise, great concept. It's just the one-take approach ends up with several moments throughout the film. So you get this, like, it's ramping up, things are happening, you're locked in, and then, like, you follow characters just kinda, like, walking around for 10 or 15 minutes, and you go, "Okay." So it was compared as, like, the J-horror version of Mads. I think Mads was maybe a little slow to begin with to kinda but, like, Mads was just, like, a slow ramp up descent into absolute madness, where, like, as the movie went, I just got more and more and more engaged, and Suffocation suffered from this, like, roller coaster where, like, it was great, and then it would dip, and then it was great, and then it would dip. There's an aspect of them using the environment in the background that I really loved, that I kinda, like, locked into, paid attention, but so, again, didn't hate it, didn't love it, it was just kinda like, "Eh," um, so but then I also rewatched Hokum, loved it even more the second time, and as a matter of fact, everybody that I was with loved it much more the second time. Not much more, but, like, they loved it more the second time. We all walked out being like, "Oh my god, everything makes so much everything makes sense now. I only have, like, one little, like, confusing bit, but we all chalked it up to, um, a certain element that's presented through the movie. I don't wanna spoil, but, like, walked out would just be like, yes. Like, the second time, once you kinda, like, know, you can pick up on all these other things, and you're like, "Ha." Just Hoka might be a movie for several people that on a second watch, you go, "Okay. Okay. Hell yeah, yeah." Um in my opinion, Damien McCarthy's 3 for 3. If you love his work, definitely go see Hokum. So, that was my Overlook Film Festival experience. Um, Not gonna lie, very disappointed in the fact that Faces of Death was like my least favorite movie of the festival, which I did not see coming. But what do you do? So, um, I will continue to do like short form content on all these once these start to, um, get released. I know Shutter picked up several. So those will be coming out. I need to reach out for screeners for a couple movies that I missed. So there's going to be more additional movies that I talk about. But yeah, that's Overlook Film Festival in a nutshell. Great time. Saw some good movies. So now it's time to talk shit. I'm not going to coffee and a crash out because I already had my coffee this morning. Um, so I'm just gonna talk shit if that is fine. If you'll allow me to talk shit. I did a short form version of this that didn't really go anywhere in terms of like views or anything, but I got a lot of comments um saying I was wrong and bad take, L take. I'm just mad because of the behind the scenes things and stuff, and I'm just not. But I finally want to talk about in long form Scream 7. I want it to be known. I stuck to my guns and I did not pay to go see this film. I did not go to the movie and see it in theaters. Will I be 100% honest and say that it fucking killed me to not go see it in theaters? I wanted to go see that movie in theaters so bad. 'Cause it's Scream, man. Like, I'm such an advocate for seeing movies in theaters. You guys know this. And again, this is my opinion. You can see in the back that I'm a Scream fan. I have this motherfucker tattooed on me. Right? Like, I love Ghostface. I love Scream. And I feel like through the channel, I haven't defended the franchise, but I feel like I've defended to a degree that this has like been the most consistent horror movie franchise. There's always movies. I mean, this is number 7. I can't like a Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky. Like, there's always just like a movie where it's just like, it's just not good. Scream, I know Scream 3 is that for a lot of people, and that's valid. Um, but I never really walked out of a Scream movie being like, I hated that until Scream 7. Like, and that's such a bummer to say. And I will be totally honest and say that um all the behind the scenes stuff with this movie wasn't great, but I did my absolute best to sit down and like watch it for what it is. And the only reason why I'm going to bring up what happened with um Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega and what happened with the original director with Christopher Landon. I just remembered it as I was looking him up. The only reason why I am going to bring that up is because I feel like the movie, you can feel like there was a massive shift. And it just feels rushed. It feels like the movie feels like this wasn't the original idea, concept, intention for this movie, but something happened. We had to pivot, and this is the result, and I feel like you can feel that in this movie. Whether you agree with me or not, that was my experience watching it. So, Scream 7. Back to form. We're focused on Sidney Prescott. And I'm gonna start with what I loved about this movie. Back to form. We're focused back on Sydney Prescott, quote unquote, Sydney Evans. Um, and Sydney will forever be one of my favorite final girls in horror. Just full fucking stop. If I'm making a list of top 5, top 10, she's always gonna be on that list. Probably top 5. I love Sydney with my entire heart. So I love that we are back focused on her. Um, that's also a detriment to this movie as well, but we'll get into that. But we're back focused on Sydney. I love that we get this evolution of Sydney being a mother. And the fact that she named her daughter Tatum, thought that was super sweet, a great, a little Easter egg. And I loved that they did not take the same approach as Halloween did with Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. She was on, if you were to put them on like the spectrum, Sydney is and Laurie are on the exact opposite. Laurie Strode, she was a fucking prepper. She was gonna be ready no matter what. She had her house locked down, fucking escapes, secret basements, things behind walls. She was telling her daughter that there is evil in the world. You have to be ready. If you're not ready when it happens, that's my fucking fault. I've seen evil. I've been chased by evil. I've been hunted by evil. Evil is on its way back, and the only way to defeat it is to be prepared. Right? And that attitude, that approach drove a wedge between Laurie and her daughter, and you saw that play out in Halloween 2018, Kills and Ends. The approach with Sydney in this movie is the exact opposite. I'm not telling you about this, Tatum. I don't want that to be our relationship. I'm not going to force my trauma and my experiences on you and affect your life. I want you to go through life with hope. I want you to go through life with this lens of just this hopeful lens, not this feeling in the back of your head that eventually your past is going to going to come back. It's going to haunt you. It's coming to kill you. There's evil out in the world. The world is dark, and this, that, and the other. I want you to learn this. I don't want that to be forced upon you from my experiences. So I want to set you up to have the best life possible without just having my trauma dumped on you. Now, if you want to learn about that, I did like this line in the movie when Tatum's asking about it. She's like, "I'm not talking about this, but if you want to learn, there's a book and there's a bunch of movies that you can watch / read. It's all out there for you. So if you have any questions, there it is." But that is kind of that's what drives a wedge between Sydney and Tatum. Is Sydney's, Tatum feels like, her mom doesn't want to be close to her, doesn't have a connection with her mom. At least that's the feeling that I got. So both scenarios, there's a wedge. There's a distance between mother and daughter. They're just approached and handled in a much different way. The mother-daughter dynamic between Sydney and Tatum was my absolute favorite aspect of this entire film. As you go through and that coffee room scene when Tatum is trapped in there and Sydney's on the phone with her through the camera, walking her through, I loved that. That's great. So, and even where it ends up, where, just the mother-daughter dynamic was my favorite aspect of the film. There were a few of the kills that were great. My favorite My favorite sequence with a kill in the movie had to be when Sydney's husband is walking through the room that's being remodeled and all the plastic sheets are hanging. I'm a sucker for that kind of scene. So when the camera is going through the plastic sheets and you see him, kind of blurred through the sheets and Ghostface comes through and like, tackles him and, stabs him through that. I loved that. I thought that was great. I thought the whole setup and how that was presented was fantastic. Loved that. Um, the Airbnb intro, the intro to this movie is such a double edge. I think the Airbnb concept is great. It's relevant. It makes sense. What sucks about this intro is it was ruined in the trailer. Almost every aspect of this intro was shown and ruined in the trailer. So I'm watching this movie being like, okay, yep, they're pulling up to Stu Macher's house, which is an Airbnb, and Ghostface is gonna be in the house, and he fucking dies, and she falls off the thing and gets out. It's like, you knew what was gonna happen, and then he sets the house on fire. Like, every major aspect of this intro was given to you in the trailer. So it didn't hit for me. I have something in my eye. Jesus Lord. Um, sorry. Every aspect of the intro just the intro got done and I was like, "Well, yeah, we saw that shit in the trailer." So that was kind of a bummer. But to dive into that a little bit deeper, the intro is where we get the bulk of the Ghostface voice, of Roger L. Jackson doing the Ghostface voice. Because this movie does something new with I will get into it later, but so we don't get a lot of Roger L. Jackson as Ghostface in this movie. It's primarily in the intro, a little bit with Sydney in about, I think, like 25 minutes after the intro or whatever. But I don't think that the short amount of time that Roger's voice was used, it was used well. I think the dialogue that was written for Roger to say as Ghostface was so fucking cheesy. I rolled my eyes. I'm like, "What is happening here, man?" Like, Ghostface is typically clever and all that. It just didn't come off like it felt like a parody. And I think that's an overall feeling of this entire movie. It just felt like a parody. And just super, super bummed. Um, so this overarching, like I was missing Roger Jackson's Ghostface voice throughout this entire film. But also, like, I see how that could be a positive for some people because it was a new approach, which let's get into it. I'm gonna start getting into my issues now because that's about all that I liked about this movie. Primarily, my main issue with this movie is Stu Macher and the approach that they went there. We don't have a lot of Roger L. Jackson's Ghostface because they chose to do something new and quote unquote fresh, with Stu Macher FaceTiming Sydney. On paper, I love this. I just want that to be known. On paper, I love this concept and this approach. The execution of this entire concept was hokey, cheesy, and I did not like it whatsoever. And if you did, I 100% see why you loved this film. But when I tell you the moment, and obviously I didn't say this earlier, so before I get into the Stu Macher shit, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I assume that everybody that has wanted to see this has already seen it. Spoilers, okay? Spoilers. I'm gonna get into, like, heavy spoilers right now. So if you haven't seen, for whatever reason, if you haven't seen Scream 7 and you want to without any spoilers, now's your time to stop this, because here we fucking go. So I kind of already spoiled the Stu Macher FaceTime thing, but whatever. You live and you learn. So Sydney's at the coffee shop and she gets the call from Woodsboro. She answers it, and I love how she I've been here, done this. It's the Ghostface voice, and I just set this house on fire, and this, that, and the other, and I'm somebody from your past. We've known each other. This, that, and the other. Blah, blah, blah. And I love the switch where she's like, "Oh, you know." Big fucking balls for somebody that's hiding behind a voice changer and a fucking telephone. And, Ghostface, which I love this line, "I'm not hiding this time, Sydney," and it goes right to a FaceTime call. Love that. Because I guarantee you, Sydney wasn't expecting that. And she answers it, and guess who it fucking is? Stu Macher. Again, I love this on paper. I love it. But almost immediately when Stu opens his mouth, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Again, and I can't necessarily talk about this without kind of getting into the end. So I'm going to just kind of like meld, like talk about this and the end, where this movie ends up going and stuff, and just talk about all my issues with it right now. Obviously, it is revealed that this is in fact not Stu Macher, that this is an AI video that the killers are using to torment Sydney. So I bring this up because I see the argument in what I'm about to say, right? I'm not dumb. I am, but I'm not dumb in the fact of seeing this argument and how it actually works within the concept of using AI. Matthew's performance as Stu Macher felt like an impression, like a parody. It felt like somebody that had seen Scream, the original Scream, and that's all they had to go off of. And they said, what would a damaged older version of this character sound like? But to me, the performance didn't seem natural and real, like what that actual person would sound like and speak like. It felt like the only thing that they had to go off of was the original movie. And it felt like this parody version of somebody trying to do a young Stu Macher, but they're 20 plus years old, older. Like, they're so much older. And it just felt off to me, and I did not buy into it whatsoever. It just felt hokey to me. And somebody will say, well, yeah, but like that, it is somebody pretending to be Stu, so that makes sense. But this scene in particular, you don't know that. And the movie is trying to sell to you that Stu Macher is in fact alive and well. And this is who you are listening to and who you are watching and who you are seeing on Sydney's phone in this moment in time is, in fact, Stu Macher. And that's proven because he says the line, "I've always had a thing for you, Sid." There is you unless Sydney wrote that line, that piece of back and forth dialogue that she had with Stu Macher in the original movie, if she wrote out that exchange in the book, I don't know why you would. That is the only explanation that I can think of. If there's another one, please fucking tell me because I have been racking my brain. The fact that he says, I've always had a thing for you, Sid. These two killers would not know that he said that. Right? Am I wrong? So in this time, they are trying to sell to the audience that Stu Macher is alive, which is a nice little wink and a play to what they've been doing for years. They've been playing with the group of people that have thought that Stu Macher has been alive this entire time. So they are playing into this. Am I one of those people? No, I'm not. I was always like, I always thought it was funny that they always kind of like winked and played with the real life fan base that thinks that he is alive and could come back, because I know the whole, well, he was originally supposed to come back for Scream 3 and then Columbine. I know that. But to me it was just kind of like, no. Like in this universe, in this franchise, like Stu Macher is dead. Get the fuck over it. So in this moment, this movie's trying to sell to you, no, actually, you are correct. He's been, and I think the simplest, like, the line of him saying, "I've always had a thing for you," said was very deliberate. It's also nostalgia bait, which this entire movie is filled with. And people will cut, no, it's Easter eggs. No, it's fucking, there are some Easter eggs for sure. But nostalgia bait hard. And I think this is part of it. Him saying that line is nostalgia bait. And also, hi, hello, this is actually Stu Macher. So they're trying to convince you that he is, in fact, real. His entire performance, every single time he got on that FaceTime, I did not believe it. And I thought it was cheesy. It was cheesy as hell. I wish the performance and everything about it was just executed in more of like, this is actually this could be believable. But to me, it just never came across that way whatsoever. It just came off fucking cheesy. I know I'm probably way in the minority there. Because people love Scream, they love Stu Macher, and they love Matthew Lillard. I'm not saying I don't love all three of those things, but I think it's a fair critique of this particular performance in this particular movie. It's just fucking cheesy. Sorry I fucking said it. So there's that, and how it wraps around while we're on the whole AI Stu Macher thing. I get that it's a rework. Every movie, Scream, 5, 6, and 7 has mirrored in some way, shape, or form the original trilogy. You saw it with Jenna Ortega, basically mirroring Drew Barrymore's intro scene in Scream 1. And like the plot basically plays out, they end up, it mirrors that. You have that, ends up in Stu Macher's house. It's a fucking copy and paste, almost mirror to the original. Scream 6, the killer ends up being the family of the original killer. That is like the big mirror of Scream 6 to Scream 2, right? Cool. So we knew that Scream 7, at least I did, would have to involve some sort of like nearer to Scream 3. Well, they already used the different location part of Scream 3 in Scream 6. You can't really do that, I guess, in a way that they do because Sydney Evans lives not in Woodsboro, so I guess there is that. But the big thing here is like the concept of Scream 3 was Roman Bridgers used a voice changer that made him sound like everybody in the movie. They don't use a voice changer in Scream 7. They use AI videos and they create and they pretend to be somebody else. And that comes full fucking circle at the end when Sydney goes to her house and all these TVs are playing in her house. And you see this video of Stu Macher and fucking Roman and Billy's mom and Stewie. That entire scene when she's walking through it and the videos are changing, again, cheesy and hokey as fuck. I hated it. So fucking dumb. So dumb. I'm sorry. Just even, and I get it's AI. I get it. And maybe it was done on purpose. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was executed exactly the way that they wanted it to be executed. But the video just looked so TV movie cheap. It looked cheap. Cheap, hokey, and fucking cheesy. I hated it. So dumb. I rolled my eyes hard, brother. I was like, this is dumb. And I fucking hate it. So with that being a major aspect, these FaceTime calls and stuff, I just kept being reminded throughout this entire movie that, hey, look at this cheap, made for fucking TV movie vibes. I hated it. I don't care. It is what it is. It just all felt so cheap. And what's super fucking cheap is the killer reveals. Who are you? What do you mean? Like, I feel like it was very obvious who one of the killers were. And I assumed who the other one would be. I don't think it was very hard to like hone in who it was, which is to me a problem because I feel like majority of the time Scream does a pretty good job of like hiding it. This time I was just kind of like, really? It's gonna be them because like we don't spend any time with these people, like hardly. And it's just kind of like, okay, what's your motive? And I read your book. I felt like you went soft. You inspired me to kill my husband. And you're hiding. So I want to bring that bad bitch in, I want to bring that badass woman energy back into your life, Sid. So I'm going to kill your daughter in front of you. What? It just, and then the doctor, she gets sent to a psych ward because she killed her husband, and that's how they meet. And so then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to help her. I'm going to do these. Oh, I work for Google. I'm doing these AI things. It just made no sense. And it goes back to the whole, like, how the fuck do you know about I have a thing for you, Sid? The entire thing, when the masks came off, I was like, this is dumb. I thought this was dumb. I thought this was pretty dumb before, but now this is dumb. It's fucking real dumb. Probably the worst reveal of a ghost face killer in the entire franchise, I would probably say. I rolled my eyes at 6 too, because I'm like, of course it's the fucking family and the daughter being alive. That makes kind of no sense. But I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this again. Whatever. But like this one, I extra eye rolled. I'm like, brother. But it just kind of feels like it plays into the meme and the joke of the Scream franchise now. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. People get online and they're like, oh, another Scream. Guess what? The killer is going to be Sydney's long-lost cousin's best friend's milkman because Sydney accidentally, when she came to the house, knocked over a fucking carton of milk or a glass of milk or whatever, and he was sitting out in his car going, yeah, I'm gonna get you, you stupid bitch. Like, I don't know, like, it just felt like it played into that meme. When the masks came off and the motive was said, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know. I hated it. I did not believe that Stu Macher was alive the entire time, so I knew that it wasn't going to be him, so I wasn't disappointed that it wasn't him. I know a lot of people were just mad at the ending because you built this entire thing and it wasn't Stu, you pulled the rug. Well, yeah, of course it wasn't Stu. Again, my opinion, my perspective. Of course, it was never gonna be Stu. I will say, I do know that they filmed that, and they did test screenings, and the screenings that it was not Stu performed a hell of a lot better than if it was. So that's why they went with that one, and that's why people are asking me, "Do you agree with test screenings?" Yeah, I do. I also think no matter which ending this particular movie went with, if it wasn't Stu, which we saw, and it was dumb as fuck, but if it was Stu, I would have thought that was also pretty fucking stupid. Because the build up to it was not executed well, in my opinion, whatsoever. So I just don't know that it would have hit. And the fact that if the mask would have come off and it is him, I think I just always had, and this is me projecting this onto the movie, which I should not do, but the original idea of Stu running this like ghost face cult thing was cool. But just if that was actually Stu, I mean maybe I'm wrong, but can't like the events, what happened, the entire buildup for the mask to come off and it to be Stu, it just didn't feel grand. It didn't feel like, "Oh, yeah, we've been waiting for this for years." If you're a fan of, like, the whole Stu Macher is alive thing, it didn't feel intense or grand or, like, it didn't feel earned. You know, it would've just been like a fucking Spider-Man No Way Home, like, everybody's, "Ah!" You know, it's actually fucking Stu. I just don't know what in that end would've crossed it over the line to me of like, "Fuck yeah, dude," because I just didn't feel it the entire time. And obviously, so many people have a different opinion. I'm just telling you mine. So that's my biggest gripe is the whole Matthew Stu Macher, the execution of everything, feeling cheap. The killer reveal was dumb. One of the worst in the entire franchise. There's nitpicky things. I don't necessarily think it's nitpicky. It just made no sense. It's a plot hole. I love the fact that, um, well, first off, see now I'm ranting. So now I'm full on. I wish I had a coffee because now I'm full on crashing out. So we have this intro that was ruined, revealed the entire thing in the trailer. We then roll into an exact remake of the scene where Billy comes into Sydney's room through her window. Her dad comes in, Billy hides. Oh, I was at home, The Exorcist was on, I thought of you. That entire thing, the whole makeout scene, all that shit. It was remade with Tatum and her boyfriend. Um, and the entire time I'm kind of like, this is just like, I guess I understand the approach because you get to the part where like you get to see how smart Sydney is and how she uses her brain and how she's been through the meta of I've been in this exact situation. I'm gonna handle it differently. Yo, motherfucker, I know you're behind that bed. It's time to go. It shows you this whole like how Sydney's still using her brain, and it gives her the I don't trust you. You might be a good kid, but I don't trust you. Get the fuck out of my house, and I'm gonna set my alarm system. Great, you're setting it up. Sydney's using her brain. This is where I have an issue. You set all this up, right? And then the what is it? Right after McKenna Grace gets killed at the play, which is like another callback to Scream 2. There is like a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, or a lot of callbacks. You know, Tatum is wearing Sydney's jacket from Scream 2. The stage play calls back to Scream 2. Um, anyway, um, they go to the house with full fucking police and they check Sydney's house. Okay, cool. So we have established that Sydney puts her security system on. So you know when she left that house, she put her security system on. There's no fucking way, one, that Ghostface even gets into the house without the security system going off. B, even if Sydney forgets to put the security system on and he does get into the attic, you mean to tell me that Sydney Prescott, sorry, Sydney Evans, has the police check the entire and doesn't check the attic? I'm sorry, I don't buy it. It makes for a really cool scene. Police are gone, they're in the house, and Ghostface drops from the attic. I will say that, especially from the trailer, how they edited it. I'm not hiding this time, and he comes out, down from. I loved it, but in the context of the movie, the final cut, it makes zero fucking sense. Huge plot hole, and I hated it. Um, really didn't like that. Gale Weathers, I don't know if it was Courtney Cox's performance or what, but it just did not feel like she wanted to be there in the slightest. She's there for a check. She's just going through the motions, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. Okay? I despised her entrance. It felt so Avengers, like MCU. I will say, um, Sydney's husband tackling Ghostface out into the street, him standing up the entire time. I'm like, well, how is he gonna get out of this one? And him getting ran over, I was like, fair enough. But how the action shot of going in the fucking Suburban or Explorer, whatever, goes and she gets out of the car, and I'm like, this is so action fucking superhero. I just didn't like it. And then the twins. I get how the twins connected with Gale, but why are the twins here? Other than they served zero purpose. Other than here is the only connection that we still have from Scream 5 and 6. Here you go. And she's gonna do her Randy scene in about 45 minutes. Hope you're ready for that. That's it. It's like they served no purpose. I don't even know why that they were fucking there. I have no idea. So those were more things I didn't like. Everybody, not I don't want to say everybody. I heard over and over and over that the kills in Scream 7 were just some of the most brutal for the franchise. And that I will probably give credit where credit is due. I do think there were a couple of kills that were like the most brutal of the Scream franchise for sure. But I kept seeing these are Terrifier level of kills. Fuck you. No, they're not. No, I'm not saying that to anybody, like, directly. I get in trouble saying, "Fuck you, no, they're not." Like, I probably shouldn't say that. I need to learn to not use that phrase. But that's just my go-to. No, they're not. No, I'm sorry. They are more like maybe in line with they're more gory, maybe. Yeah. But if any of those kills were in a Terrifier movie, people would say, "What happened to Terrifier?" In my opinion, the closest one that I can even think of is when Ghostface puts the kid on the fucking bar tab. handle thing, and the beer comes through his mouth. The kill in the beginning when he puts the knife through the guy's head, I was like, "Oh, okay, we're getting brutal with the knife this movie," but nothing for me personally crossed the, "Oh, so we're doing Terrifier levels." No, I'm sorry. So I didn't really see where that comparison what was happening. I'm not saying a couple of the kills weren't like, "Oh shit," but like, especially for a Scream movie, it's usually just like stab, stab, stab. But like, um, yeah, I just feel like my over leaving Scream 7, closing when the credits roll, I'm just like, I just feel like Sydney just it's over. I feel like we are so done and Sydney's story is done. Leave her be, let her be at peace, let her rest because you're not gonna kill her. I'm pretty sure that's in Nev Campbell's contract that she cannot be killed, and they are 100% not going to make Sydney Ghostface. I don't think that they should, because if you make her Ghostface, you tarnish and taint Sydney's entire legacy throughout 7 films. I just think that's like kind of a disservice to the character. So I don't know that she ever g becomes Ghostface, and she's never gonna die. So it's just kinda like, for me, there was just the stakes in this movie. I just didn't feel the stakes. Yeah, like, I guess it'd be sad, obviously, and I would, like, feel very bad and sad for Sydney, um, if she loses her husband and her daughter, but, like, this motherfucker got stabbed like nine times. The plot armor on her husband is Scream 6 level plot armor with Chad. Like, they should be dead, and they're not. So, like, the stakes are just I just don't feel them because you know nothing like, inevitably, like, nothing's gonna happen to Sydney. So, if we keep focused on Sydney, which I get, Scream is her franchise. I get that, and I agree, but it just, like, how many times do we do Sydney against Ghostface? That's my argument with Scream 5 and 6. She was involved in 5, and I liked that, but it seemed like, okay, we're moving on to a new set of characters. Sydney's still here. That just felt like a natural, like, progression to kinda set the franchise up for the fir but then we've gone back to Sydney, which I, on one hand, love, but on the other hand, I just don't think it's great for the franchise. I walked out of this movie be like, I think Sydney needs to be done. The franchise needs to be done for a while. And then maybe years and years and years down the road, obviously, Scream is never going to die. It makes way too much money, even with the quote unquote protests. This movie made a fuck ton of money. And I've talked about this on short form content and my podcast, I'm pretty sure. So, like, Scream 8 is already greenlit. It's happening. Kevin Williamson said he's not going to come back, but I think he said that Nev had a great idea for the next one. So we'll see. It's happening. If you want to make a sure bet, Scream 8. I mean, it's confirmed. So like, it's fucking happening. Ghostface and Scream just makes way too much money for the franchise to die. But this is the first one that I walked out of going like, okay, well, I think it's run its course. I really do, and I hate saying that because, like, if I were to sit down and somebody say, "What is your favorite horror franchise?" I would say Scream, probably 9 out of 10 times. I love the franchise. I love Ghostface. I love Sydney, but it just felt like, okay, I think we're done here. So I've been ranting for a while. I have seen the movie once. I didn't rewatch it. I'm sure if I rewatched it and, like, sat down and took notes, there's a lot more that I could, like, nitpick and point out, different plot holes and things, but just, like, that's just my, like, off the cuff after seeing it weeks and weeks ago. Um, these are the main problems that have stuck with me personally. I would love to get your opinion. Do you feel like for me, this is one of the weakest of the franchise for sure? I would probably put it down with Scream 3. This one is the one that I had very like a visceral eye roll. I hate this reaction. So it might end up at the very bottom of my Scream ranking, but I do think that there's things about it that I do love more than Scream 3, if I'm being fair. Did you guys enjoy Scream 7? Am I an asshole for even talking about Scream 7? I don't know, I don't really care, it's my channel. I mean, it's hard not to talk about it because 'cause I'm a horror content creator, right? And I didn't pay to see it, so whatever. It is what it is. As a big Scream fan, this is the first one that I was kinda like, "Damn, I didn't like that." I didn't hate it, but definitely my first, like, "Fuck." Such a shame. Maybe they'll have a non-rushed, drama-filled, plan for Scream 8. We'll see. I don't know. I will say if any franchise from my perspective of this being a lower, loved movie for me personally, if any franchise um, has an opportunity to come out with an absolute banger of a movie and bounce back, it is Scream. I do think that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it some more. I'm kind of at a loss of like what you do from here. Do they just do like the classic like Tatum is now being hunted and Sydney has to help her? I don't know. This was very off the cuff. I haven't really done much thinking about it. I just kind of watched it and like rolled my eyes in disgust and just kind of shut the internet browser off and was like, well, shit. So, would love to know your thoughts on Scream 7. Or did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited about the news for Scream 8? Let me know in whatever comment section you're on. That would be fantastic. So from here, guys, I 100% am gonna get we're back on like the normal schedule, I think. Next week I'm here, right? Yes. Next week, I'm here. So I should have a podcast episode for next week for sure. I'm going to do my best to get one pre-recorded for when I'm in the UK shooting Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. Again, insane statement that just came out of my mouth. That's crazy. So hopefully I'll have regular episodes coming out from here on out. Once I get back from the UK, I'm not traveling for a while. At least that's the plan. So I have some ideas for podcast episodes or whatever, but if you guys have any concepts, anything that you would love for me to break down, talk about, recommendation lists, favorites, best of, whatever. What do you guys want to hear me yap about? I would love to hear that in the comments section. DM me, whatever. I'm so excited to go to the UK. I've got a few movies to watch on my watch list that I'm super excited for. So yeah, we're just gonna continue to vibe out. I so appreciate your guys' love, your support. If you have not yet given me a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you listen to me on, I would appreciate that. Like I've said, that gets me out into the algorithm and more people will find and listen to the Slasher Talk podcast, which would be awesome. I also want to give a major shout out to Jerko. Thank you so much for your donation through the Ko-fi donation link in the show notes. You did not have to do that, but I appreciate you. I love you. That really, I, you know, thank you for your kind words. And that really helps me keep moving forward and doing this thing full time. So I appreciate you, Jerko. Thank you so Much. But yeah, until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a great week. And remember, watch something spooky this week.